What's up everyone, my name is Sulaiman and today I'm going to be talking about if we are getting a fourth stimulus check. I'm going to be going over all the details like how much money we are getting, when it could be possibly be approved, and who is eligible for this stimulus check. Now let's get right into it. President Joe Biden is expected to reveal a new spending plan that will possibly provide more money for struggling Americans. As the IRS is still struggling to send out the third stimulus checks, the pressure is actually building from people on the government so they can send out a fourth stimulus check and possibly even more. There has been a lot of pressure from congressional Democrats for Joe Biden to approve for a fourth stimulus check and possibly recurring payments until the COVID crisis is over. President Joe Biden said that Americans shouldn't have to struggle during a pandemic to pay for essentials like food and other bills. And according to a census study, Americans were using most of this $1,400 for things like food and bill. I mean, I can just imagine. I know some people who are paying rent that's way more over $1,500 alone. On Wednesday, Joe Biden is going to be giving a speech, and he's probably going to be announcing the American Families Plan, which is going to cost around $2 trillion. And that will include funding for the fourth stimulus check, hopefully, education, and child care tax credit. Now let's talk about the child care tax credit, because that can be another big benefit for the American people. So this child care tax credit is basically a improvement on the previous one. Previously, the maximum for the child care tax credit was only $2,000 per child, but now they can be up to $3,600 per child for each year. And the great benefit of this is for the remaining 6 months of the year, they're going to be sending out monthly payments for about $300 if your child is less than 6 years old. And if your child is from the ages of 6 to 17, you can be receiving up to $250. Now, I don't have any children of my own, so I'm not sure exactly how the child care tax credit would work. But from what I do understand is that the income requirements are basically going to be the same for as the stimulus checks as they have been previously. So for couples that are making less than $150,000, they would be getting it, and for an individual who's making an income of less than $75,000, he would also be eligible for this. Now, I'm pretty sure that they would prorate this, so if you are making more than this, you'll probably be reduced on how much child care tax credit you'll be getting per month. And of course, for the next 6 months, if you were to get $300 each, it would be only $1,800. So how is it $3,600? So for the remaining amount, you will be receiving the full rest of the amount when you file taxes for 2021. Now, I think the last thing to talk about, which is probably the most important thing, is will it get approved? Now, when this was talked about, not a single Republican provided support for this. Just like the previous stimulus check, not a single Republican voted in support for this. And the Democrats were actually able to approve it because they have majorities. And they will probably be doing the same tactic when they try to pass this next American Family Plan. So there is actually a possibility, and there's rumors going around that the child care tax credit can be extended till 2025. So you could be receiving $300 a month for your child, for each child, for up to 2025. Now that is going to be talked about in the future, and we will be seeing what happens with that. Now, the last thing we should talk about is how is all of this going to be getting paid for? It's really interesting because you can see that in the past 2 years, there have been multiple multi-trillion-dollar bills that have been approved, and the money is just being printed insanely. I can see in the future that the middle class is going to be paying a lot more in taxes. Now, Joe Biden is trying to increase taxes on the wealthy, but let's be realistic. The taxes for the wealthy, there is no such thing, because there is many tax loopholes that the wealthy use, and they pay very little taxes, if nothing at all. So I think the middle class is going to be hurt the most in the future for this. Another thing that I would like to add is that a lot of Democrats have been pushing for recurring monthly payments towards Americans. Now, Bernie Sanders and I believe Elizabeth Warren are some of the advocates for $2,000 per month for all Americans. and this is basically would end poverty. That is another thing that is also talked about, and let's see what happens if America will turn into a UBI system where everyone will be receiving monthly income, and it will provide more income for everyone that is struggling. Alright, if you really enjoyed this content and information that I provided, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment down below on what are your thoughts about receiving $2,000 a month every single month.